Hello, New. It's Robin Smith. Thanks for getting back, mate. I really appreciate that. It's the first time anybody's ever done that in the Bitcoin world, so I really appreciate it. It's hard to get people to respond for some reason, so I appreciate that a lot. Yeah, so it says a lot about your character, so I'm really pleased to meet you. Thanks for your information. I just thought I'd let you know my position. So I'm doing business development really for BSV-like apps or whatever succeeds ultimately. That's really what I'm trying to do here. My background, I'm a survivor of 3 recessions. I'm a co-founder of a Cambridge-based economics think tank too. That was based around mortgages, or our research and policy was around mortgages, location value and taxation, and we integrated all those things into policy. And I had .com success while I was at Cisco during the 90s and early 2000s before it crashed. So I've got a lot of familiarity of what's going on in the Bitcoin world and the language I hear, all that sort of thing, and the sort of things that people are trying to do. And I can see through quite a lot of it. So I'm not a gazillionaire. I did okay in .com, but I'm not like Calvin Ayre or someone like that who's got a huge amount of money to fund these things while smoking cigars. You know, I'm still involved in a job where I'm trying to do this sort of business development work. So that's my background. What's my ask? So I'm trying to develop a network ready for whatever comes out on top in Bitcoin. Who knows what that's going to be after everything's happened. You know, over the next year or two, I expect something will come out. A lot of topical stuff going on lately as well, which seems to be feeding into that. My view is everything happening now, even the excellent stuff. You know, for example, like your app's really good app. I use all or as many of the BSV apps or hand cash related apps that I can. I think it's excellent stuff. Trying to use it as proof of concept or actually using it itself. I mean, I'm sorry I can't use yours. I don't have a business really that I can get use from your stuff, but I can see why it's so good. So everything's happening now, even the excellent stuff, but I think that will likely be changed by whatever that outcome happens to be. So there's no guarantees, and I saw this during .com as well. You know, we didn't really know what was going to happen, and it was definitely different in the end. What happened, I mean, we ended up with Amazon, didn't we, and Web 2 basically, and nobody really knew that was going to happen, you know, which was the killer app. So except, so what we do know, what we can know in this business development role I'm trying to play, is with an excellent network. So if we build an excellent network, the resources will be ready to go. Everybody knows and trusts each other and is skilled with high energy. So everything's ready to go. We can guarantee quite a good level of, or quite a good chance of success with little risk if we have a good network available to do that when it's needed. So I can't help you directly yet. I'm sorry about that. So I hope I haven't wasted your time. But given your high energy approach, I'd like to include you in that network if you choose to be. I won't feel at all offended if that's not what your thing is. So don't worry about that. So my forecast, so what can I say about the future? Well, it's always difficult, and this isn't financial advice, obviously, but we've been forecasting this stuff for 12 years now. No, it's actually more than that, 14 years now we've been forecasting this. So the topical activity is interesting, as I mentioned above. .com saw a similar crash in worthless mania equities, followed immediately by the biggest housing boom we ever saw. Followed some years later by that crashing too, through the mortgage finance and that sort of thing. So the survivors there were the likes of Amazon. So could that be an analogy to for BSV or whatever the apps that come out of that, or whatever chain with utility survives that? I think that's going to probably happen. We can't forecast it either. So I'm not saying BSV or any particular service or miner or application yet, but it will be something like that. Somebody will survive and they'll take off. And we've been forecasting based on historic data and economic fundamentals the next proper recession around 2026. So I know a lot of people do that. It's like the sort of thing that Peter Schiff does all the time and gets wrong most of it. You know, he hits one every 10 years or so, doesn't he? But, you know, based on fundamentals though now, So we're basing this on the fundamentals. So there's no scientific precision about that date at all. But if you need to know how we're arriving at that, by all means ask for more detail. It's not complex, but obviously it's highly controversial, and mostly people will not talk about this openly. So a lot of similarities here with Bitcoin and the Bitcoin world as well, with BSV. So it'll be housing and mortgages again, though, for this recession. So why is this important? You know, why am I talking about that and for blockchain tech and applications? Well, this will be the first time historically where the global economy is harmonized recession-wise. Okay, so it'll be the first time that, you know, the recession will probably happen across the entire world, even possibly China and those sort of places. And also, more importantly, where the technology is readily available for the public to finally open the door to alternatives, rather than leaving that largely to the authorities, who don't tend. I mean, I'm not anti-authoritarian. I'm not pro them either, but I won't slag them off necessarily. I know they're a bit stupid sometimes, you know, and they're not always that smart. And there's a lot of expedience there. But this will be the first time where I think the public will go, no, we've had enough of this, and we do know there's technology available that can mitigate some of this in the future. So I think this will be a first, and I think if we're ready with technology at that time, there could be a trigger point then. So that's my position generally. So you don't think I'm wasting your time. So you've got some detail about me. It's a couple of years before we'll see any indicators signalling the 2026. Such as mortgage repos alongside house price mania. So those two things happening at the same time. I'm not sure if you remember what was happening, you know, between 2006 and 2008. I mean, it was crazy stuff. It was just like it is today. It was just like the dot-com. People were bidding up house prices, yet people were going bankrupt or they were losing their houses at the same time. And that goes on for about 6 months to a year or so. So it's during that period you can start getting ready more accurately. So I have nothing right away for you. I apologise if you think I'm wasting my time. I'm just setting out who I am, and I hope I haven't bored you with all this and you think I'm a crazy guy, but we have been doing it for over a decade now. Just building that network in the hope of big business down the line, though. So I appreciate your time, and thanks once again for the video. Really appreciate that. It's really nice to see people doing that. It says a lot about those people when they reach out like that. Keep in touch, and if you like the network idea of this business development I'm doing, by all means build your own trusted advisors into it. I think because of the nature of the scamming in Bitcoin world, communications between trusted parties are few and far between. I think that's the nature of the beast, unfortunately. So, I mean, I've only been looking into this for about 6 months now. I should have done it a long time ago. I regret that a lot, not because I've lost any money or anything, but I was ignorant before. Now I'm really looking into it hard to see what can be done with it. Very interesting stuff indeed. So that's all. Thanks very much for everything, Anu. I hope that's how you say your name. And keep punching that bag, mate. Speak to you soon, hopefully.